Hello, and welcome to another episode of Unapologetically First Gen. This is amazing. We are at 1 year into recording this podcast. Yay! This is our special anniversary episode, and we wanted to do something kind of fun and extra special. We invited a couple of those first gen cousins that we've talked about onto the episode. If you've listened to the 43 First Cousins episode, you'll remember that we have kind of like two or three groupings of cousins. We have those older cousins, and then there's this grouping that's around my age, and then there's sort of these younger cousins, and then Stacy's kind of in the middle between everybody, and she didn't really have anyone that close in age to her. But these two people that we have here today are actually from the older grouping of cousins, and we thought it would be really interesting to bring them on and talk about life um, as trailblazers for the rest of us. So we have Michelle, who is the oldest of the bunch, but the third oldest on our dad's side. Say hello, Michelle.
Hello.
And then we have Suzette, who's the fourth oldest on our dad's side. Say hello, Suzette.
Hi, everybody.
Stacy, do you want to add
And
any?
I'm also here, as always.
To kick things off, we invited our cousins onto the show. We had essentially no podcast outline. We were just like, come on the show and we'll chat. We'll see how it goes. When we all logged in this morning, Michelle had a question and a really important point to make, which I think is a great way to start this conversation. And Michelle, do you want to share what your question was?
Yes, I was just wondering because I have different memories than Stacy and Lesley, and Suzette grew up kind of close in living proximity to Stacy and Lesley. We all have different memories, and I'm first generation born here, and I just remember when Stacy and Leslie's parents got off the plane and came over from Portugal, and I remember when Suzette and her family came over from Portugal. So I didn't know where historically we're going to start with some of our memories.
That's so cool and so interesting. And I don't think we've ever talked about that. You remember our parents in a way that will have known our parents. This sort of like, you know them as like carefree, young, childless people. Maybe not carefree. I can't imagine our parents ever being carefree. Were our
Childless
parents
people.
ever carefree?
Yeah. Your parents actually stayed with my parents in our house until they got settled here. And I do remember your parents being so cool. And I just thought they were just so cool. I think that's where your mother became my godmother later on for my confirmation. And then I remember Suzette coming over. Little Suzette, how old were you when you came over?
I was 2 years old.
You were 2 years old? And I have to say, I believe I'm 3.5 years older than you. So, I was
Oh,
like
that's an
five.
early memory.
That's an early memory. And I remember at Logan Airport, you walking through the gates with your older brother and your parents. And I remember I've never saw a little girl so blonde. And I just remember that.
Now it's all white.
Suzette, you're the only blonde-haired, blue-eyed person in our family.
With the exception of my older brother. He was also born with blue eyes and blonde hair. Him
But
and I.
but his hair got darker.
Yeah. And mine got darker here as well. It almost looked like roots coming in.
Yeah.
With years, my blonde just completely went away.
Yeah.
I was
From your
like
dad's side.
bleach blonde.
Yeah. Wait, are you saying that's not your natural hair color?
No, I don't know what my natural hair color looks like. Just to go back on the comment about your parents being childless, I remember them being childless too, to a certain extent. Your mom was like super fashion all the time, and they helped raise my older brother and I when my parents had to work. So I have a lot of memories of your parents taking care of us, sleeping in the bed with them, tasting Philadelphia cream cheese, your dad making mixtures of cereals for us to eat. Your mom's little ceramic little cat in the kitchen she had that was black and
Oh,
white. I have a lot of those types of memories of your parents. And everywhere they went, because my parents didn't have a car, everywhere they went, they always included us. They would
yeah.
pack us into a car. When your cousins would come from Canada, they would never leave us out.
I do have a lot of memories of growing up and you and your brothers going on stuff with us, like,
Yeah.
even without your parents, and it was always expected. It was, like, wasn't even a question, it was just sort of like, "Oh, we're going to Canada. Oh, we're going to the Cape. We're
Yeah.
going we're
Yeah.
going to stay at Michelle's house because
Yeah.
you guys had a really cool house because you had a pool and a playset." That's what you
Right.
said. You guys
Right.
had, like, the cool house,
Yeah.
and you had a
Right.
dog. Like, you guys had
Right.
the coolest house.
Right. But that wasn't until I believe I turned 11 and my sister was about 7 or 8 years old at
Yeah,
that point.
and but you and I we figured this out, like, 2 weeks ago, that
Mhm.
you and I are 11 years difference.
Yes, yes.
So, if your parents moved into that house when you were, like, 11,
Yeah.
literally my entire life, I remember you guys being the cool house.
That's interesting.
Isn't that funny? And
Yes, and then my memories up till I was 11 was mostly in Cambridge
yep.
because I loved my memories in Cambridge.
Yeah.
And you remember the memories in Woburn.
Yeah, I know completely. I know how much our parents appreciated how much your parents helped them before they got settled in because I have so many times where I remember us driving down the street
Mhm.
and usually my dad and often our mom would be like, "That's the house we lived in when we moved here with your aunt and uncle. That's the house."
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I have
yeah.
so many memories of that. To give people a little bit of background to our relationship, specifically with Suzette. Have we talked about the compound, the Braga compound in this podcast yet?
I'm not sure if we've mentioned it, but I do tell people about it all the time. And what's funny is I feel like I have to leave a disclaimer when people come over. I had some new friends come over recently and I didn't really explain the compound to them. And then I got a phone call from dad and I was like, reject, I have guests. I'm not going to pick up. And then he came up. It was because mom made dinner and it was a special dinner that they wanted to share with us. And it was actually very nice. But I was like, oh my gosh, dad, go away. My new friends are here. And I haven't told them yet about all of the family that lives here.
And you were like, I am in my 30s.
I'm a grown
And
ass
like,
adult and you just embarrassed me. Thanks.
yeah, it's funny because when you're like in your early 20s, as a single person, like living there, I was like, oh my God, get out of my business. And now I'm like, oh man, sometimes I feel like I'm really missing out in particular because now you're there and like Suzette's there. Or and then even the day, Michelle, when you were there and then you were hanging out and I had to leave and I was like, oh man, everybody's gonna hang out. Or in the summer when everyone's hanging out in the front and I'm like, oh, I gotta go. I've got family. Gotta put these
Mhm.
kids to bed. It's like funny what you end up missing because we grew up with like all this stuff. But do you want to explain a little bit
Well,
more for
can I
people?
can I add a piece to that?
Yeah.
Because there was also our part because we used to be up the street from the
Yeah,
Braga compound
exactly.
because it used to be called, my maiden name up the street.
Yeah, yeah,
And so there was a bunch of us that lived up there. My parents, myself, and my sister, another family, another aunt and uncle, and a couple more cousins
yep.
that ended up moving out of the area about the same time I had moved out. And so we had our own little compound up there, and then we originated up there, and it was your dad's two sisters that helped bring over Suzette's mom, I believe, and Lesley and Stacy, your dad.
Yeah.
and that then formed over the Braga compound.
Yeah. Yeah, your compound started our compound, and then you guys dispersed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But ours was like, "We're here." Yeah, Stacy, do you wanna explain a little bit more so this isn't totally confusing to listeners? And then you can just reference this before you have
Yes,
guests. You could be like, "I need you to go listen to this episode before you come over,
about
so
the
you're gonna
compound.
have"
Um, Yeah, so basically, our parents own a house, and this house is about 3 feet away from our aunt and uncle's house. I live on the third floor of this house. My parents live on the first floor. And Suzette, you live on the third floor of your parents' house, and they live on the first floor. Suzette and I, our bedrooms are probably like, I don't know, 3 feet apart. And
I think they're less than the length of a broom away because I'm pretty sure that we've knocked on each other's windows with brooms when I lived there.
yeah,
Correct.
my favorite part of living this close to Suzette uh, is that in the summer, our windows are open and my cat will hang out on the windowsill and have conversations with Suzette. Like she will just like meow at Suzette and you just like, I'm literally like waking up. It's like 7 a.m. and I'm just like hearing their conversation. Like Suzette's talking, the cat's meowing back at her.
They're so cute.
We have this sort of space next to the houses, and that's where we would hang out outside and ride bikes and play. And now where my kids hang out and play. And in the summer, it's a lot of just like sitting on the front stoop and hanging out. And it's very much centered in the community where we'll sit out on the front stoop. Whoever gets up will be like, I'll go grab beers for everyone. It's very like rooted in community. All the neighbors are like recognize us, especially Suzette's dad, because he's never inside when the weather's nice out. We're all familiar with the long-term neighbors who've been there. Everybody kind of talks to each other. The neighborhood's changed a lot in our time here. Um, especially with the other compound moving out. But it's like we still have rooted ourselves in a sense of community in a different way.
I think there's something really special about like intergenerational living where like yes like sometimes it is annoying to be that close to your mom and dad, but like it's also like really special to like be able to check in on them and have that time with them. And like Michelle, when you came over, to just be like, hey, I don't have time to hang out, but like let me stop by and like say hi because she's here. And like sometimes it'll be weeks between being Suzette because it's winter and we're holed up, but it's like if I need something, I know she's there. And so there's something really special about that that I think that is kind of hard to articulate to somebody American who doesn't
Yeah.
really understand why we would want to do intergenerational living.
I agree with you because it was nice when I went to go visit your parents and Suzette's mom came over and I had the best visit with her. I hadn't seen her in a while and it was just the nicest time. And one thing I think you could all probably attest to, one thing about our family and we could say about all of our parents, they c- they they help each other out no matter what. If one has something, they all will help each other out and will call each other to say, I have extra peppers or I have extra fish. And for some reason, they still keep that community no matter that some of them have stayed close. eh, Um, in the same town, and some have dispersed it, still living in Massachusetts. They somehow, in their elder age, still will do that. And it's interesting, that has kind of tapped out a little bit, you know? I don't see that anymore. It could just be me.
Do you mean like in like the wider society?
In wider society, I just don't see that nurturing piece that they brought over with them within their culture. Yeah, yeah.
So I have two comments to chime in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So in terms of being one of the oldest and the generational experience that I had, I think it's wonderful, especially I helped raise you guys. I've changed both of your diapers. I can contest to a lot of stories of Stacy vomiting.
I literally was like,
She's a
how
pro.
long into this episode until Suzette mentions me vomiting?
She's so I that's and that's our greatest joy is to see the younger generation doing so well. You guys are fabulous. I take pride in seeing you both growing, continue to grow. You as a mom, Lesley, I love it. Um, Being in the compound, I love seeing your parents' new roles as grandparents and seeing the interaction. It's just
Yeah.
wonderful to see it. In regards to Michelle's comment, and I am going to be brutally honest and raw. Our family, they do help each other. But when we first immigrated here, my memory, it was a lot of being toxic, favoritism, and competition. They would help to a certain extent, but they wouldn't help so you wouldn't supersede their success.
I don't remember that.
I do.
Yeah,
And
you do.
it wasn't just the family, it was friends and it was the community, the Portuguese community.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting the difference in how you guys remember that and also how involved you may or may not be with the family and the Portuguese community now. Michelle, do you think that you're involved in the community now at all?
So that's interesting. I'm going off of what Suzette says. I wonder if I am less involved in the community because I was very, very resistant because of some of the things I didn't want to copy. And, I just watch, and this is my opinion. And everybody out in the world, this is Michelle's opinion, and we live in a democracy, and I have the right to my opinion. Suzette has the right to her opinion. Um, but I was always very resistant to the Portuguese culture, that I wanted to be more Americanized. So, and then I went going to parochial school. I was more, my environment was more Americanized. Um, so I wasn't as embedded in it, and I didn't want to be part of the culture. But when I watch the Portuguese kids comedy show, and I see some of the antics and some of the funnies, and I think, "Oh, yeah, that is the behavior, that is this or that." Those are the things that sometimes I have less tolerance for, or I will laugh
Yeah.
about. But I could see what Suzette, talks mentions that. Um,
I
and
think I
uh
think you and I are closer in age, but I think our experience in some forms align, completely
Correct.
align, with our family dynamics, but in terms of experiences,
Mhm.
I think we completely are in different boats.
Right, because
Because,
Suz
I felt the immigrant, like, I truly experienced being an immigrant to this country, which I think you were more conditioned at the time, more established. Your parents were more established when you were born.
Yeah, well, I'm first generation here. And Suzette, I believe, and I don't want to speak for you. I mean, I'm going to let you elaborate on this, but you were raised in the community as I was raised kind of outside the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you guys are talking, I'm thinking about how differently you two were raised, and then how differently
Mhm.
Stacy and I were raised. So, Michelle, you were in the city, and then you ended up in a suburb. You went to a parochial school. Your parents are extremely religious, very involved in like the community, in the
Mm.
Portuguese community through
No,
church.
actually,
Oh,
when
they're
my
not. The church is not a Portuguese church.
no, no.
Oh, I thought it was. Okay.
No, actually, when I was living in Cambridge, the parochial school we went to parochial school in Somerville. So we were never really involved in the Portuguese community there. We
So you
were
were involved in
really
like a religious community, but not the Portuguese community.
correct, correct.
Okay. But then Suzette, you grew up and lived in this very immigrant community up until not that long. I mean, I guess a long time ago, but generally speaking, this was a very Portuguese neighborhood, but you didn't attend a very Portuguese school
No,
growing
I
up.
didn't. I didn't. I
And then Stacy and I grew up same neighborhood as Suzette, very Portuguese neighborhood, but we ended up going to a school that was heavily Portuguese. So we were like, entrenched in the community. And not less you than me, Stacy, but I was in a very Portuguese church for a huge part of my childhood. And Suzette, I
Mm.
don't think you were.
I was.
You were.
Same.
I don't remember seeing you at church at all.
Yeah, I
Oh,
wouldn't
but
walk
I do
in now.
remember seeing I know. I do remember seeing pictures of your, like, first communion now that I'm thinking about it. Although,
Yes.
can I sidebar this and say that the last time Suzette, Stacy, and I talked about church, Stacy and I were at a funeral. We went to the church service at the Portuguese church, and it was, like, a really good-looking young priest. We text Suzette, we're like, "You gotta start going to church more." Like, who
I
is
will
that?
confess.
And it's like, here's the thing, we were like, "The priest at the blah, blah, blah church is really hot." And then she goes, "Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about."
Love it.
Like, I didn't even know you went to church, and then you're like, "Oh, I know exactly who the hot priest
Yeah,
is."
I went for an event, so when I saw him, I was like, "I think I have to come to church more often.
You're like,
I think
"What?"
I need to confess. I have sins."
You're like, "I'm having sinful thoughts right now."
Something that Michelle said earlier about trying to distance herself from the Portuguese community. Lesley, you and I have talked about this feeling of shame.
Mhm.
Feeling shame around being an immigrant, like not really wanting to engage in the community because you want to assimilate and you want to fit in with everybody else. And I think as where we lived became less and less Portuguese, I felt that more and more, especially with the way that schools were set up, being very segregated from the general education population. And we were the immigrant kids. That was something that I really have had to work through and through college and beyond, really coming to terms with like, okay, this is who I am. And even if I'm not engaging with the community necessarily, it's part of my identity. And I feel like that's something that when I look at the next generation, I really don't want them to feel this shame around where they came from. I want them to feel very comfortable in who they are and what their history is.
For myself, I'm not sure. I'm interested to also know if Suzette felt this. I think at first it was a little bit of a shame because I felt different from everyone else because I was in schools that were more Americanized and I did not have the experience to be with other immigrant children. So I always felt different. And I did not go to Portuguese churches. I went to American churches. I did my first communion and I was my whole to this day, my parents still go to American churches.
That's so
Um,
surprising to
it,
me. I don't know why. I don't know how I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, no, my parents do, and they've really Americanized themselves a lot, which in hindsight now, I think it's great, but growing up, um, um, I appreciate it now, and I love that they did that now, but I think growing up for me, it wasn't the shame that I had. Maybe I did up through middle school. My issue for me to move away from the culture was more myself and my parents, because I think my parents, and I'm not saying anything here that they don't know, because we've had this conversation.
Mhm.
So they did the best they could with what they knew, and they were raising myself and my sister to the best of their knowledge, and the American culture is different. They were very strict with me, and I really wanted to be independent. I was very strong-willed. Um, and my turning on the culture was really my back way of turning on them, which was just a teenage response.
Right.
It was a teenage response.
And I want to come back to this, but I had a question for you as my older cousin who has now an adult child. Do you think your daughter identifies and connects with the Portuguese community?
Oh, yes, 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 she's definitely does. She identifies more with Portuguese than I ever thought she would. What's interesting is because she's half Hispanic and half Portuguese, when she did one of those DNA family things, she actually is more Azorian than she is her father side, her biological father, so
Strong genes.
yes.
Yeah. That's something that as a parent, I'm like, "Oh, how do I balance this for my kids?" Because my kids are half Portuguese and half Black, and I'm like, "Well, I want you to embrace your African American side, and I want you to embrace your Portuguese side." And we have to find that balance. So we have really cool decorations in our house. Like we just got this 5-foot African mask. Also, we've been liking about changing our entire backsplash in our kitchen to be very like Zorian with those white and blue tiles. They speak Portuguese, so we just sort of like lean into it that way. Now I just have to get them into Portuguese dance too.
They're gonna be more Portuguese than my daughter.
I'd like to echo what Michelle said in regards to her parents, similar to mine and all of ours. It took a lot of courage for them to come over here, not knowing the language, the culture, just to give themselves and us a better life. Speaking for my parents, they had two children at that time, and they did the best that they could, like we all do at this
Yep,
moment. We're all learning every day. We try to better ourselves in our situations, and that's the only thing we can actually hope for is to build the next generation better and be proud of who we are and know that we're imperfect people. I was brought up embracing the Portuguese culture. Um, my shame came from being poor, not having a lot, and being reminded that I did not have anything. The Portuguese people that were here established before we were, they shamed us. And it's the whole hierarchy situation that we experience at work, in the world. That's how it goes. They're better established, we're lesser than them. We had even a family member used to call the house to tell us how much her husband made every week because it was more than my parents did. So, like, I remember things like that. We lived in a Portuguese household before we moved to the compound, and we were the newcomers, all Portuguese from a different island, and they would throw trash through our window. My older brother would get bullied in school. That's the type of experience that I grew up with, completely different from what Michelle. And it's amazing that we only lived a block down, but that was
yep.
my lived experience.
That's so sad and so unfortunate. And I don't know. I don't even have words.
Yeah, and my dad would go to work, and he was used to be called the N-word.
And that's a different experience, and
Completely.
you're in the Braga, compound,
Our
and now years later, Stacy and Lesley in the same Braga compound had a different experience.
Mhm.
So, the difference in your ages, what a difference in experiences.
Yeah.
That's like why it's so important to like share our stories too. Like, and I think that's why this podcast is so important. Leslie and I can talk about our shared history all day long, but like everybody has a different experience and not, there's no like one immigrant experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're talking about an immigrant experience within the same family, within the same like 2 blocks. Right, like the same 2 blocks, and we're talking about the same generation, though albeit years apart, and and we're talking about 4 completely different experiences. I do wanna switch gears a little bit, and this is gonna be one of those things that is, like, partially joking, partially not joking. I think Stacy specifically owes us each, a word of thanks because I feel like I did a really good job really clearing the road for your misadventures, but I couldn't have cleared the road for your misadventures without Suzette paving the road and without Michelle, like, clearing the forest for the road to be built.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
uh,
hats off to
Trust me,
Michelle.
I really, really, really was the bad person, and all of our parents were on the phone a lot because of me for a lot of things.
and I just wanna, like, asterisk this to say that the irony of that is that you're literally one of the more heavily relied upon kids now.
Well, and it could be just because of me being in my head, but I just remember, like, bad things and, like, leaving, and I just remember wanting to get out of the house, and my grandma Gloria going wanting to go live with her and all of that. So, and I don't know if you remember any of that, Suzette, because maybe I was just being a teenager in my head.
No, I actually remember that. I think you had a difficult time, like not at the time that I realized it, but now looking back as an adult and you really paving the road. You were the first girl and you wanted your independence, and that's not acceptable in the Portuguese community. You have to be a servant, you have to be told what to do, what time to come home. You couldn't spread your wings by by any stretch, and everything was vergonhas.
Oh, yeah, embarrassing.
Yeah, everything you did was scrutinized, and that was not fair to you.
Yeah.
That's right,
And
you are the
thank you for
oldest.
your sacrifice.
You're the oldest girl here.
Here.
Right here, which is different than being the oldest girl there, I think, because here you're dealing with the pressures of living biculturally, where you're living in an American culture that expects you to behave one way, and you're living within a Portuguese culture that expects you to live this other way. You know, you were like, I need to figure out my own identity and how do I like balance this, and it's something that Stacey and I talk about frequently, and that how difficult it is to balance that and to figure out like who am I in these two spaces. But you did it with like torturous. You were just like, I'm gonna blaze through this, and you had a really difficult time because of it, I imagine. You were here over the summer at my house, and Stacey came by, and afterwards we were like, how come we don't hang out with her more? She did this moment we were like, wow, we had like no idea that Michelle was so much like us.
Like grounded.
Yeah, and it was sort of this sort of sense of who you are, and it felt like you have taken the time to really understand your place in this bicultural world that we are in, and understanding how to be Michelle, but also how to be part of our family's community.
I really appreciate that you say that. It's been a lot. It's taken a lot, and I'm not 100% there. I have an incredibly wonderful husband and family. I've been talking to a lot of family members. Suzette and I were on the phone back in the springtime talking about some things that I was able to vent to and talk. I talk to my sister a lot. I talk, and I really, with my parents, I have open, honest conversations with them,
Yeah.
and my parents accept that, and they accept it, and I don't. I'm honest with them. I tell them I don't regret what you did because I am who I am because of it, and I'm grateful. It was the best thing ever, and I use those experiences to help other family members as well because I'm honest about it. Um, and maybe that's just the social worker in me.
Or maybe that's why you became a social worker.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Chicken and the egg situation.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's here's my Christian side too. I just just be the best you can and do the best you can every day and just be a positive, or just leave a little impact and be positive in somebody's life and leave a little sunshine. You know?
Yeah.
That's the day. At the same time, not depleting yourself,
Yeah.
you know? I was having this conversation with Suzette because of not depleting yourself. I'm helping a family member right now, and I'm working on not depleting myself, and that's so hard.
Yeah.
It is really hard. That's definitely something that I will struggle with because my automatic reaction to when that generation needs something is to just be like, "Yeah, I'll help." Not really stop and be like, "Wait, can I?" I think it's because it's just so automatic for me. It's just kind of like how we were raised. But I think I need to get better at stopping and being like, do I have the bandwidth for this? Is there enough like time and energy and enough of me for this? I need to do better, like saying, I can't help you with this right now, but I can help you with this Tuesday or whatever. You know what I mean? So I think it's just something that it's going to be kind of just like a constant struggle. And then this idea of discovering yourself and discovering your place in a larger group, it should be a lifelong thing. Because you don't really wake up one day and you're like, I am Lesley, and this is what that means. I think it should be a lifelong thing. You should be frequently evaluating what that means, because we should all be growing and changing and thinking about your place in the world. And because the world is changing, your place in the world should also be changing.
Very true. That's evolution.
I want to switch gears to a lighter note. So Suzette has been our neighbor for our entire lives. Let's see, I moved out of the compound
It's
11
been like
years
10 years.
yeah, years ago, 10 or 11 years ago. So up until 10 years ago, Suzette and I were neighbors. Um, and then that's when Stacy took my spot in the compound. Um, Stacy and her now husband. So Suzette's been part of Suzette's role in our lives has really changed quite a bit. You've mentioned like changing diapers to really having that almost other parent vibe, to then sort of us growing up. And now it's a very different feeling. My kids call you titia, so it's much more like a sister. You're not like our parent anymore. Now you're just involved in the antics.
I love them. I love them.
So now you're talking to cats.
It's better than getting you guys in jail.
Yeah, yeah, and this is like where I was lead this is where this conversation was leading. So, I wanted to out you because when people listen to the 43 Cousins episode, they're like, "Who are the people who would be in jail with you?" And I'm outing Suzette as one of those people.
I honestly feel like I think I probably would cause the reason why we'd be in jail.
I think so.
I think what's funny is when that episode came out, I think, Michelle, you texted and you were like, I wouldn't be there, but I would definitely bail you guys out.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely.
100%. I think Michelle might be the phone call. So if I'm imagining if it's the three of us, in just Stacy, Suzette, and me, then one of us has to call a spouse, and the other one has to use their one phone call to call Michelle. Because I think Michelle could figure out what to do. Like, figure out,
Michelle
like,
would be
what
like,
is.
what the fuck is going on?
Michelle will be like, Michelle will gather the parents and be like, this is what happened.
We
Don't
definitely can't.
panic.
We
Don't
definitely
panic.
can't call Melanie. She's probably in there with us.
Um, don't panic.
Do not yell at them when they get out.
Don't yell at them.
But you all need to give me this much money.
Mistakes were made. I 100% think it would either be a protest gone wrong or a protest gone right. A protest gone right. Or it would be we were out and someone was disrespectful and Suzette ran her mouth.
Or
I
punch
think
someone
that's
in the
way
face.
more likely situation.
Yes.
I'm envisioning us in a jail cell and us just being like, what the hell, Suzette? This was not how the day was planned.
Why can't you be quiet?
And come back home and watch Netflix?
You don't even know what's in store for you, Stacy, in a couple of weeks.
Oh, God. Actually, when this episode comes out, we will be, Suzette and I, and also my husband this time around, are going on vacation together. So by the time this episode comes out, we'll be there.
And hopefully not
Great.
in jail.
I will absolutely record my own episode talking about your jail escapades. If you end up in jail, while on vacation, I'm 100% going to record an episode that is like, Stacy and Suzette are in jail. Here's what happened. It'll just be me talking. Michelle, I'll invite you on, and then you can talk about the reaction the parents had when we had to call you to tell them. Because there's no way that I am sitting our parents and Suzette's parents down to be like, so Stacy's husband, and Suzette are in jail. Here's what happened. I'm gonna be
I
like,
honest,
Michelle has something to tell you.
my parents, I don't think would be shocked.
No, your dad would be like,
That's my
your dad
daughter.
would be like, that fucking idiot. Why she no shut up?
Yeah. Meanwhile, I tell him sometimes, don't get arrested because I'm not bailing you out. Because he used to
That's
tell us
exactly what
that.
he would say. He'd be
Yeah,
like, oh, now she needs money?
yeah.
Well,
They used to tell us that. Yeah.
Suzette, you're often, because we spend so much time with you, you're often a main character in some of the cousin stories that we tell. But now what's really funny is anytime we tell a cousin story that's like absurd, people are gonna be like, it must be that Suzette cousin.
Yeah. Poopy hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you are just listening right now, Suzette has been wearing a poop emoji hat this entire interview.
It's her thinking cap.
It's my thinking cap.
Can I ask, do you ever wear that while you're on the toilet?
Yes.
I love that.
Do you wear that on work calls?
I do if it's just my boss. She's the one who bought it for me.
Oh,
And she got me poopy pajamas.
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, it's my thinking cap.
does anyone have anything else that they really feel like they want to share before we wrap up the episode?
I actually just have a comment. We're all born for a reason, but we never know what the reason is. But I hope I can be able to contribute into society and to the family is to better the next generation. I think that's just so important. And I think it's so important for our girls to use their voices when our grandmother was silenced for so long and she was a force. So, Lesley, thank you for letting me be a part of your daughter's life. And Michelle, I want to be more part of your kids' lives.
Grandkids,
Yeah,
which is crazy.
grandkids.
I think that's like the craziest thing is that we're in the same generation and your granddaughter is my daughter's age.
Crazy.
I actually did have one more question for both of you before we have two more questions, but I have one in particular. What was your reaction to hearing about our podcast? Or how did you hear did we tell you guys about the podcast? How did you hear about our podcast?
I think I found you through social media somehow.
Oh.
I think it was LinkedIn.
Interesting.
Oh.
Maybe, maybe not. I have no idea. I came across it somehow. I love it. I love the idea of you're both great examples of women, strong business ladies. I love the fact that it is fun. I love the concept of bringing the idea like today. It's true. There's all these different viewpoints and generational ideas that come together. And then I just learned a lot myself from listening to all of you, which was really interesting. And I love the example, like Suzette just said, about empowering women and empowering generations. To do a lot of the independent business and things that you both really are doing for yourselves and for society. So that's my take.
With me, you guys told me, I think we were in Santa Maria last year, Stacy, when you guys were designing the logo. I think it's a wonderful idea. Both of you are brilliant in very different facets. You guys know everything, a little bit about everything. And it just amazes me, your intelligence. And I'm like, damn, I didn't even go to school. It's like, like at least I have cousins that are really intelligent, including you, Michelle. So as your older sister, I feel so proud. And to be able to hear your voices enlightens my heart.
Aw. I'm not gonna cry, so we're just have to change the subject.
Yeah, thank you both for coming on
That was
because
nice.
one of the things that kind of glues us together is really this caring about other people and caring more about just our small nuclear family unit. Everybody here does a lot through their jobs and through their communities to really serve their communities and serve the next generation. So I think that's one of the reasons why we all get along so well. So I just want to really thank you for sharing your story and for coming on this podcast. If you are another cousin listening, please don't feel left out. You can still come on the podcast. Just let us know that you want to come on the podcast.
Also, you don't even have to be a cousin.
No, you don't have to be a cousin, but I don't want to make it weird, you know?
We have 43 first cousins, and then we can branch out to second.
Before we end, we like to ask what makes you unapologetically you.
Go for it, Michelle. You're older.
Oh, the pressure, the pressure. I have to say, my life experiences, when I thought that they were bad experience, in hindsight, they were actually good experiences because in all the bad, you learn. And if you can keep a positive mindset and move forward from it, it's all learning experiences. Just don't repeat them. And I am better today than I ever was.
I love that.
So for me, this is a tough one.
I have some ideas about what makes you unapologetically you. But, if you
So for me, I would say that me being unapologetically first gen is because I never hide my roots, our family roots. I carry my parents' sacrifices with pride, our family, poverty, uneducated. I am proud immigrant. I never felt ashamed of it. And I'm a proud immigrant. Um, and I learned that as an immigrant, I never fit well here. I go back to Portugal. I also don't fit there. So it's okay not to fit in. It's really okay. We're not meant in every situation to be in every place or make other people happy. We're not meant for everybody. It's okay. We weren't born to win a popularity contest. I'm far from imperfect, fucked up, but I come off as real. And at 48 years old, I don't give a fuck.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You
Yeah.
really give zero fucks.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Love it.
I think if there was like a graph that was like the fucks Suzette gives, and it was like age and the fucks, it would be like. But I also think that's true of most women. I think that like, as we get older, the fucks we give just droop. I mean, that's what I'm finding it for myself. 39, I was like, I still have fucks to give. And like night of the day I turned 40, and then I was like, my field of fucks is fallow. Like I was just like, I have no more to give.
You know
And I
what it is? I feel for myself. I'm 48 years old. I'm not gonna live another 48 years. Why don't you just be true to yourself? I've gone through that growing pains of not fitting in, not feeling that I was valued. It's like enough already. I'm not gonna change. I am who I am. It's always there's room for opportunity to grow, of course. You are who you are.
yeah, yeah. The zero fucks really is like, this is taking comfort in who you are,
Yeah,
as
I'm
opposed to being like,
perfect.
I don't care about anything. That's not what it is.
Yeah.
I'm taking a lot of comfort in who I am, and I'm very comfortable with that. And this is the space I'm taking up. You are welcome to be involved. You are welcome to step into my space. But if you don't like it, then you can leave.
Bye.
Here's the door.
And don't let it hit you on the way out. Honestly.
And what a fitting way to end the Unapologetically First Gen episode. With that, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow, review, and share with another Unapologetically First Gen friend. And to get more updates, join our email list.